Greetings, everyone. My name is Karen D'Avino. I am the Superintendent of Schools in Vernon. I am with Chuck McKay, Assistant Superintendent, and Natalie Buccieri, one of our Board of Education members. I'm so excited to be with you. I know that you're wondering what we are talking about in the summertime.
That's right.
But we don't stop working. There's always something exciting happening. We're going to talk briefly today about a brand new program that we really hope that we're able to roll out here in Vernon. If you've been following what's happening in our district over the last 5 or 6 months with our budget challenges, one of the things we've talked about is having a student exchange program. So during my interview about a year ago, I talked about an international exchange program through the Confucius Institute at Rutgers University. The district applied for the program. We were accepted, and Dr. McKay and Mrs. Buccieri actually had the privilege and opportunity to represent Vernon and to travel to China to try to establish school partnerships with the hope of having some exchange opportunities down the road. So why don't I turn the floor over to you and let's have a little discussion about those opportunities in China.
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that everybody understands that Ms. Buccieri volunteered to go and spend time away from her family and her job in order to do this. So much appreciation, Natalie, for all of your effort in China.
It was a pleasure.
It was, and we had a great experience through the Rutgers program. The Confucius Institute was quite good. They organized the trip, and we got to see 2 cities and their education systems. And Matt's going to show you a couple pictures as we go forward. We're also going to make a presentation this Thursday night about it. Basically, what we were trying to do is find out how we can get exchange students here, based on Ms. D'Avino's idea of bringing students here to our district at a cost to their families. But we know that Chinese families are interested in sending their students here. We know that we can have those students for 1 year, and then they can move on to American university systems. So that's the lure, and we're working very hard to try to make that happen. So some of the things that we saw over there, one of the things was the plane flight, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about the plane flight. On the way there, it was mid to late May, and the plane was filled with students returning to China. So it really just reinforced to me how many Chinese students we have in our country. I actually was able to speak to one young lady who just graduated from Boston University. She was heading home, and she had said that I believe 25% of their students were international, and of those 25% of the international students, 40% were Chinese.
Right.
Wow.
So there's just a huge hunger for American education in China. And it was just really interesting to see that just even on the plane flight. We hadn't even left America yet.
Right, and even when we were in the different schools, of course, the children, many of the children are bilingual, and what we found was the children had a real interest in American schools. So what we tried to do is figure out how it would work within the system and make connections with different various people in the different schools. So every school that we went to, and we have some brochures in some of the schools that we were in, every school we went to, we tried to talk to the top administrators there about setting up sister schools with Vernon schools.
Yes.
So we hope to, by the end of, by Christmas time or so, have sister school arrangements for some of our middle schools as well as our high school. We're in negotiations right now with a group that's going to be one of the high school ones, and that's through Jilin University, which was the university where we basically were stationed in the north of China, and that's their high school. So the work will be with that group. So again, we're sending emails back and forth. We hope to have a signing. Maybe we can do it on camera so that people can see it there and here as well. There is some communication glitches. Matt can tell us all about that with China, but we're working all of that out as we move forward, and we're learning as we go.
We are.
So, but the idea simply is that once those sister schools are set up, then there'll be exchanges of students where the students can come during their breaks. So the Chinese New Year is a time in January where we could, the first year, have some students here to get a sense of what Vernon's like. So we tried to sell them on all the great things that we have in Vernon. So we have a great story with Natalie about the time that I was making a presentation, and Natalie had presented to the director. We had given a present to them, a Vernon T-shirt, and our logo and all the other things that are Vernon, including our packet. But then we started to talk about Vernon, and we showed our home video. And you became emotional as it...
I did, actually. You know, we'd probably been traveling for maybe 12 days at that point, and you know, none of my kids were in that video, but I got a little teary-eyed. You know, I just, when you see it from a different perspective, you really are impressed with our with our whole program, with our community, with our school system, with all the things that we have to offer, and they were clearly impressed.
Yes.
You know, when you gave the presentation, and Chuck knocked it out of the park. He was making connections, sharing about our school district, and you could really see that they were impressed with what we had to offer, and wanted to make those connections back with us. It wasn't
Right.
one-sided. It was definitely reciprocal between us and the administrators in those schools.
Right, and this is what Karen saw when she first started talking about this. When you came here, we were not talking about this idea, but the idea simply is that we have a lot to offer.
Tremendous.
And the more that we can get that out there, the more we will get responses from people who are interested, right? And
Yeah, and the benefit, like you said, is, kind of the pilot piece of this is having Chinese students come to us during Chinese New Year, during their vacation. When they come and be part of things, they can say what it was like to be here in Vernon and bring that back to China. It will help us create a program that's really vibrant for them. And the other pieces that are important are, and we talked about this a little bit with the Board of Education when we met in June, is working with an agency, and there are agencies that work with us. The great news about an agency is that they really do bear the brunt of the burden for the district. So the agency will do things like they'll interview families and they'll decide about home visits and where the children can stay when they come here. They also have to be accredited not only by the state but also by the federal government to make sure that we are doing things at a very high level of a very high caliber to make sure children are protected, because they are traveling to us in lieu of being with their own family. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is that there's no cost to our taxpayers,
no.
Yeah.
to our district. I think that there was some speculation about, when we bring this kind of program, the benefit here is really twofold. We're looking at diversity, some opportunities for our students to really understand, explore, Chinese culture from the perspective of native Chinese students, as well as the opportunity for the district to maybe earn a little bit of revenue in regards to tuition. And it's something that at the board table we've been discussing quite a lot because of the challenges that we're facing in the next couple of years with the budget. So
Absolutely. So it's a revenue producer, and of course also for the people in the community that would take the children on, they would be remunerated as well as having the benefit of having a student with them for a year. So. And some of the wonderful students that we saw in the various schools.
Yes, they were. The students were great. They really were. They were so excited to meet us, to practice their English.
Yes.
Talking to us, commenting on differences between us and them, and then similarities too, which was really interesting. Yeah. So we each were paired with a student as we toured the schools and saw the different classrooms. The courses that they were taking, so we kind of got to know our student for the afternoon or the morning that we were with them, and it was really, it was very sweet, very engaging, and really interesting just to see, how their schools were set up and their education system.
Yeah, all the gals were falling in love with Natalie and following her around.
The curly hair was unique.
Of course.
Yeah, the curly hair was unique.
Yep. And again, we saw Beijing as well as Changchun, and in the north, of course, there's no diversity in China, or very little. So we were
it.
Yeah, we were it. So, but that was a good experience for us as well, because the children that are coming here may feel the same way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the idea is simply to have a sympathy or a sympathetic understanding of what that might be like. But I really think it would be a real enrichment for our students as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's hopefully going to be a great program. It's going to take us a while. The agency is going to be the key here.
Yeah.
But if we continue to have the support from the Vernon community, we hope that all of this works out.
Yes.
It's a great idea.
Thanks.
Again, thank you for bringing it, and also thank you for all of your efforts with us.
Thank you for
that was
spearheading.
It was a
long
weeks.
trip, but it was definitely
Yes.
worth it, and we've already started to see the fruit of it.
Yeah, we
Right.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
definitely.
are.
Right. And the Board of Education meeting Thursday, I think the
We'll
two
do
of
a
you are going to be
report
doing
out on it.
some.
We'll show you some
Yes.
pictures, and we'll show you what the schools look like. Very interesting. Some of them are very modern, and we'll take a look at all that and their system.
Yeah, so if you can't be there Thursday, if you happen to be traveling, Don't forget that it's live streamed, so you could always check that out maybe when you come back. I know it's the summertime, everybody has a little bit of a different schedule.
Right.
But we will be meeting Thursday evening at 7 p.m. over at Lounsbury to take care of our usual business, but we will be talking about the International Exchange Program. If you have an interest in that, we would love to have you either take a look at the live stream or come and join us.
Right, and again, thanks to Rutgers for supporting
Yeah,
us for
absolutely.
this program, because they basically paid for the whole thing.
Yeah, they did, and
Except
they did a
for
great job.
half of our airfare. So thanks to the Vernon community as well for supporting us as we try to move forward with this program. Hopefully it'll be a great thing for our community.
Yeah.